So Adam, this is, I think, our first crossover episode ever in the history of this show in almost the 3 years we've been doing this. And I did y'all's podcast, Stand By Your Band, this week. It was honest to God, me defending the band live. Dude, this is what's so crazy about how this episode and then the other Talking Heads episode we did where we had Jerry Harrison, close personal friend of mine. We are best friends. I'm his kid's godfather now. But when we were sitting down to talk about live, the Tommies, because there's two Toms here. There's Tom and there's Tommy. Tommy said you could watch Stop Making Sense every single day of your life. I think that was verbatim what you said.
Yeah, I definitely said that it's my favorite movie, and I think I've watched it. I think in the last 2 years, probably over 50 times. I've probably watched it. I'm like fully obsessed with Stop Making Sense. I think it's the perfect concert film, and I think it is just like the most pure expression of music on film that exists.
So before we even get into that, like, how did you guys meet? And like, are you guys like old school friends? Because you have such great chemistry on the show. It's Tom, you just kind of shitting on Tommy's point of view, and Tommy, you just basically being like, you know, the king of snark.
Yeah, he's the prince of snarkness.
The prince. I'm sorry,
our nicknames
he got demoted.
Don't really make any. Yeah, he's got a father that is the king of snarkness. But no, yeah, we go way back. We both lived in Chicago. Tommy's like from Chicago. I lived there for a couple of years doing stand-up, and we became fast friends. We moved to New York together, drove in the same car. He had a giant bag on his lap, and and we lived together for 4 years and started the podcast while we lived together. So, and it's fun. It was great having you on, and yeah, it is mostly just me kind of accusing Tommy of being a pedophile and stuff.
Nice. Well, he has the look. I mean,
we'd probably have more listeners if I didn't do a lot of the things I do, but you got to do something. You got to fill an hour somehow.
I mean, dude, I get shit on so much by the fans of my own podcast. They're like, you don't know anything about this record. You're just pulling this off of Wikipedia. And I'm like, yes, 100%. It's Wikipedia is a cornucopia of fucking facts. I'm sorry that I don't know everything about Modern Lovers.
It's dude, it's so frustrating having a podcast that's like especially about bands like we do, and like how you do, where people who are really diehard fans are pissed off at you. And I've said it from the beginning. It's like, this is a fucking comedy podcast. It's not it's like music is a part of it, but it's a comedy podcast first. So it's like, oh my God, chill, like just laugh along or don't listen. I don't really give a shit.
You are speaking what I think on my pin message on Twitter is me saying, I'm not a music critic. I'm a comedian. Yep. Please, dear God, lay off of me. Yes. I just want to listen to some records and talk to some from both of you guys, what's the worst comment you've gotten or from Flack, or what album or artist did you get the most pushback from making fun of?
Well, the first one that comes to mind is we did an episode about Art Garfunkel's solo work, and this woman lost her mind. She was so upset that we would make fun of Art Garfunkel, and she said like all these tweets about how she felt really upset. And then there was another one we did They Might Be Giants, and Tom had posted on the Facebook like, hey, does anyone like hate They Might Be Giants for the show? Because that's what we used to say in the Facebook post. And then someone in the comments there was like, how dare you say that you hate my favorite band? Like, why would you put this on the internet? This has ruined my day. And it's like, he just asked a question of like, if anyone hates it. People are just, very sensitive when it comes to it.
Well, you know what's funny? We had a writer who was still,
it's insane.
We had a writer who worked on the show from the beginning. He was a fan. His name's Morty. Everybody knows Morty on the show. He was on the show for a little bit. And he said it as he was leaving, because he started getting busy with his band. And, after working on the show for like 2.5 years, he was like, you have to be very delicate when you're talking about music, more than anything, more than movies, more than politics, more than anything, because when you make fun of a band or a song, you have to keep in mind people associate these memories from their life with music where they're like, oh, so you making fun of that song that we played at my dad's funeral? Really? That's what you're playing? And you're like, I mean, I didn't know.
You're like, why did you play All Star by Smash Mouth at your dad's funeral? That was a weird choice.
I was like, I don't know why you played Electric Feel by MGMT. That was one of the first podcasts we did that I got the most amount of shit, where I found a Reddit profile page, whatever the Reddit, first of all, and I think we all can agree, is a fucking cesspool of just evil, of just
that's the worst comments we've ever gotten. I stopped posting the episodes on Reddit because we would just get it was dumb of me, but I thought people would like to hear comedians talking about their like whatever band they like, and for the most part we would be nice because our podcast is that it's like we're allowing a platform for people to not be assholes about this music, and then sometimes it's funny to make fun of them on top of it.
100%.
People on Reddit would tear me apart, and it was brutal. And so I was like, I'm just gonna stop doing it. It's not worth it.
Reddit is I go on the bonfire a lot, and I stopped reading the Reddit comments because there are people that just hate me, and they're like, he's never said anything funny. It's like he's a fucking this, he's a that, and I'm just like, good God, all I'm trying to do is entertain you for free. Free.
I know.
So wait, so how did the podcast start then? Like, so you guys were friends? Were you guys just arguing over shit one day? Because I love it so much. I mean this, guys. And it's probably because for the first time I was on a music podcast and I didn't have to be in the lead. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I'm in the lead, I'm constantly, all right, I got to look up this fact. I got to do this.
I know. That's what, and you saw me doing it. I was shuffling to find fucking facts, and I ended up reading YouTube comments. And that's why I got to fill time calling Tommy names.
But so how did it start? Was it just you guys love music, or like what happened?
The main thing that started. So Tommy and I drove to New York together, and from Chicago, we had like a 13-hour drive, and we were just listening to. By the end of that drive, you're so loopy, and we were just like listening. I was putting on like Bare Naked Ladies and shit that people make fun of. So I always associated. I was like, we'll have fun talking about this stuff, but I was really pissed off because I like Coldplay. And that's a punchline band. People hate Coldplay. It's from what is it? 40-Year-Old Virgin or whatever. When they're like, you know how I know you're gay? It's like you're like Coldplay or whatever. And ever since then, I feel like they were such a huge punchline. And when Coldplay did the Super Bowl, all these people were like, "This is gonna be the worst fucking thing that's ever happened. I'm gonna kill myself. I'm so mad." And I was just like, "It's not gonna be that bad." I get it. Like, Chris Martin is lame. He is very corny, but he's not like a horrible musician. It's going to be fine.
Not at all.
Also, the Super Bowl halftime show usually kind of sucks anyway. Like, it's not that great. I mean, I liked the last couple a lot, but no, it's not like the best music you've ever heard. So it's like, they were like, it's going to ruin Beyonce to have to be on stage with Chris Martin. It sucked. And so I was like, I think it would be more fun to hear the other side of this. And then, me and Tommy started having people come on and talk about the shit because I wanted to talk about Coldplay. And so I was like, this would be a fun platform for other people to do this with the bands that they like.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is really fun.
I think when you pick the right bands, you know what I mean? Because like you said, there are some of those bands that are just like I could do another episode where I just defend Stone Temple Pilots. Do you know what I mean? And I have like straight facts of why they're dope and why they're Scott Weiland rules. But then there's other people that are going to be like, this is the worst band that came out of the grunge scene. And I think to give that platform for bands like Coldplay is a big one, because Coldplay is like, arguably at one point, I remember when Justin Timberlake brought them up at the MTV Music Awards, and he was like, ladies and gentlemen, the best band in the world, Coldplay, the best band in the world. And I didn't see their halftime show, but I don't remember it at least. But did anybody ever see the fucking Who? The Who was terrible. The Who halftime show was butt cheek. So
I don't remember that, but yeah, they're mostly not good. Like,
no.
Yeah.
Beyonce's was great. Who else was good? You know whose was good? U2 after 9/11.
The Prince one is the best of all time, in my opinion. But
Adam just said that too. Adam just said Prince too. I'll also throw
the U2 one was cool. Yeah.
He pulls
after
the thing
9/11.
out with the
Yeah, that was
flag. Dude, I watch it sometimes and
remember that.
cry because it was like right after 9/11. Everybody loved America at the time. We
Right.
hated Afghanistan. You know what I mean? It was like we were all behind a Bush. Like we loved George W. Bush so much. Like like Donald Rumsfeld would get all of his dinners comped. You know,
I mean, like Giuliani on fucking SNL. It's crazy. And then now look at him. It's
and
crazy.
he's a fucking troll now. He's a bridge troll now. It's crazy. I mean this to all my Fleece Army out there. If you guys want another great music podcast, listen to Stand By Your Band. They're both so funny and it's great. So listen to theirs, listen to mine. Their listeners listen to mine. Let's have a fucking fuck fest of music podcast, joking and music and thinking. All right, let's get to brass tacks because I could just talk to you guys about bullshit forever. Talking Heads. So take me back to your first memories with this band. Go all the way back to the first time before this record, everything. The first time you even heard this band.
So I mean, I definitely heard them a lot when I was younger, but I never really got too deep into them until it was much later in life, where I knew all the songs. You know, I knew Psycho Killer and I knew Burning Down the House and everything. And then in college, I had a friend of mine who was really obsessed with This Must Be the Place, and he wrote like a 15-page paper about it. He was like, I think this is the greatest song ever recorded, and he really talked to me so much about it to the point where I started listening to it way more and getting way into it. And he's the first one who showed me Stop Making Sense, the movie, which I watched for the first time, and I was just like a drunk, dumb college kid where I was like, he's wearing a big suit. That's funny. Yeah. Never think about it again. And then cut to this year, or last year actually. I was upstate with my girlfriend, just in like that small house, nothing to do, and we were like, we should take some acid. So we did that, and then I was like, what we should watch? We should watch Stop Making Sense. I haven't seen it since college, but I remember thinking it was cool, and maybe it'd be like a cool acid thing to do. Yeah. And it just I had this experience of watching it, and it just in real time being like, oh, this is my favorite thing in any medium now. I just connected to it so much. I really think it is the perfect concert film. It just feels like you're there in a way. I think Jonathan Demme directed it, and it's just an amazing piece of art. And then it just became the thing that I would just watch whenever I didn't know what to watch. I was like, well, I'll just watch Stop Making Sense again. And I just watched it basically at least once a week, every week since that day I did it, watching Acid.
Really?
Acid, yeah.
Really? And what was the experience like on Acid? Was it, because I mean, I just watched it literally an hour ago. I haven't finished. I think I got 2 songs left. I had to stop to go buy spinach and broccoli so I could have lunch. But you're right. Everything that you said. I don't think you're ever going to see a concert film like this on so many levels. The way that the way that it's shot, there's cameras on stage. You never see the audience.
Yeah, that's
literally
such a big thing. Yeah,
it literally feels like just a play. You know what I mean? You can hear the audience. I loved how at the beginning of it, it's just him. How he comes out. Mm-hmm. I think that's really cool.
Just him and the boombox and an acoustic guitar.
Him and the boombox and the acoustic guitar. And then right away I was like, oh, okay. This is the most David Byrne thing.
Yeah.
If he was going to do a concert film, to do something like this, you know what I mean? That's so different than you see the audience. It feels like you're at the concert. You don't feel like you're at a concert there. You literally feel like they're in a studio. And the way they bring everybody out one at a time, which I think Alice in Chains ripped off when they did the Unplugged. I don't know if you ever remember.
Oh, did they do the same thing?
Kind of. It started out first. Jerry Cantrell came out, and he starts playing the riff of not Sludge Factory. What did they open with, Adam?
Nutshell.
Thank you. They open with Nutshell, and it's like, oh, dude, yeah, dude, look at him, man. He's in the back of a comic book store right now. I think there's an iguana in his right shoulder. I don't know what the fuck is
dragon, to be fair. And Alice in Chains Unplugged is probably the best of the Unplugs.
I don't disagree. No, I don't. I think
you just haven't heard the Dashboard Confessional one, or
dude, you know what? I'm not gonna lie about Dashboard Confessional. I don't like them, but I do like that one part in the song "Hands Down" where he breaks it down. It's like, hands down, this is the best day I am. I was driving I think I was going through a breakup, and I started crying listening to that. I was like, God damn, dude, you got me. You got me, emo. I don't know how you did it, but you fucking got
Hey,
me.
Vindicated slaps too. Yeah.
Nah, dude. You know what's better than Vindicated? You know what's better than Vindicated? Hero. Hero by
yeah,
if
with,
we're doing
Chad Kroeger,
Spider-Man,
yeah.
if we're doing
Dude,
Spider-Man sound,
that song fucking rules. Honestly,
rules.
Hero. It's so good. I mean, that used to. When I was in high school and they would put that on at the gym that I would play basketball at, I would always pop off. So it fires you up. That's like this is like we're dabbling into our podcast because it's like Chad Kroeger. He's fucking cool, man.
I said that. I said that when I did your podcast. But also Hero was big when I went to my first year at Towson University. And that was when people, for the first time in my life, I had friends that had a cable modem. So I could download songs off Napster in like 5 minutes or whatever was LimeWire at the time. And I remember on all of my friends in the 4 different quads that I would hang out at, I would go in. You mind if I go into your room real quick, just download a song? And I download Hero. And so I fucking loved that song. And Vindicated's okay.
Wasn't that a fucking game changer I remember the song when that stuff first came out when I first started the internet. I would watch a song download for 13 hours. I was like, oh, I want to hear this Eminem song, 13-hour queue. And I was like, that's totally fine. I still couldn't believe it. I was like, this is a miracle. And then it felt like I had a buddy who would make, he had way faster internet. So I would just make a playlist for him and give him a blank CD. And he was like, I was like, you really do this for me? And he was like, I'm not kidding. It takes 1 minute. Like, it's nothing.
I know.
Yeah.
My mom used to, always want to call her, her Aunt Marcy. And I'd be like, you can. I was like, I'm downloading music. She's like, well, how much longer? And I'd be like, 8.5 hours. Just chill. She's not going anywhere.
She like loses her relationship with her Marcy over this.
There was a
call me anymore,
dude. There was a friend that my mom had named Renee, she worked with at a elementary school. My mom was like a principal secretary at an elementary school, a few different ones, and one of them that she was she was good friends with, that was much older than her, would call all the time when I was on the phone with other girls that I was like hitting on, having those like 4-hour conversations where you're just laying on the bed, because we couldn't hang out because we didn't have cars yet. And I kept telling her she was busy because she would beep in. I go, oh, yeah, sorry, Renee, she's busy. And then Renee thought my mom just didn't want to talk to her. Ended the friendship.
Shit.
And it's my fault. Yeah. And now Renee's dead.
How do
probably.
you sleep at night, man?
Very well. Very well. Next to an 80-pound Doberman on a quasi Tempur-Pedic mattress. It's fine. Sorry, Renee. Sorry. What about you, Tom? What about Talking Heads with you? Like, how did that start?
They were a band for a long time that they would come on. I'd be like, oh, I know this song. I didn't really associate them with Talking Heads. I was just like, oh yeah, I like that song. And then Burning Down the House, I thought was cool. And I had we have another buddy, my buddy Connor was really into him. And so I was just on a long drive. I was like, I'm gonna just put on Talking Heads and see what happens, see what I like or whatever. And then This Must Be the Place is truly I think it's my favorite song. I think it's so good, and it's just such a weird love song. I think I'm sure it'll come up. It's like the only love song that David Byrne ever wrote, and it's incredible and weird, and it's not on the nose. The lyrics are so fucking weird, and I get pissed off when I sang it at karaoke, and this friend of ours was like, the lines sing into my mouth. And this girl goes, ugh. And I was like, you piece of shit. That is such a good fucking line. It's so good. Love me till I'm dead. It's like, there's all these little lines that are so cutting in it. I just think he's a brilliant writer. But yeah. And then Tommy was watching Stop Making Sense all the time. We were trying to do an intervention for him because of his alcohol problem. But instead he got us drunk and was like, let's watch Stop Making Sense. And and I was like, it was so distracting that we let him keep drinking forever. So
we'll get to the intervention later. It's all good. I really like having...
it is like a late night, like end of the night, like all hammered, and Tommy would put that on. And watching David Byrne dance with a lamp, and just the weird shit that he's doing on stage and it making it look cool. It's like the most unique thing I've ever seen. Somebody just fully being a fucking weirdo on stage and everybody's into it. And I think like the fact that he has those girls on stage with him too, and they're dancing with him, it looks so cool. I fell in love with it too. And so now when I'm drunk, pop it on too. It's a perfect, like, I'm just gonna watch this guy be incredible. And I kind of I got a little bit more into it because this is a dumb story, but I have a show at the Sultan Room in Bushwick that I run with Shane Torres and Caitlin Cook and Phoebe Bobs. And I was at that venue one night just having dinner, and there was this weird concert happening in the back where it was like all these bands, this label like was filming videos for all these bands, and it was kind of a light crowd. And so the owner was like, "Hey, will you guys come watch the music? Like, you can get in for free or whatever." And I was like, "Oh yeah." We go back there. There's nobody back there. But there's this band in all white jumpsuits, and also in the crowd is fucking David Byrne, who's wearing an all white jumpsuit. And he goes up to the band because he doesn't know them. He's just hanging out in Brooklyn. And he's like, I only know this because the owner pointed out, he's like, David Byrne is over there. And I was like, oh shit. And so he told me later that David Byrne went up to this band that's in all white jumpsuits, who's like nobody. They're like a newer band or whatever. And nobody's there to see them. And David Byrne comes up to them and he's like, look, we're all dressed the same. We should get a picture. And they go, yeah, maybe later, man. Like, they didn't know who he was. He was just like, okay, cool. And like, he just like laughed and left. And that later somebody told them, like, that was fucking David Byrne, right?
Oh my
like,
God.
Oh, no.
Oh my God.
That made me, I don't know why that made me like him so much. Just that he was like, just like laughed that off. Like, he could have been like, fuck you, I'm David Byrne. But instead he was just like, okay, you're going to fucking regret this.
He's like, good luck with your album release. Okay, no one will hear. I would have. That is so funny, man. That is so, I got a similar story to this. it's nothing to do with music, but I used to go to this dog park in Hollywood all the time. And one day I was up there and I was just, this is before I went through my existential breakthrough. So I used to have a chip on my shoulder just about the industry and whatever. And I go to the dog park and I'm pissed off and there's no other people there except for one guy. And he's a good looking dude and he's got a German Shepherd. And I'm just like, oh, I don't want to fucking deal with his German Shepherd. He's a good looking guy. He's probably a Hollywood douchebag. And he walks up and his dog and my dogs are playing. He's like, can our dogs play? And I'm just like, yeah, whatever, man. And I just kind of keep walking away and I go and sit down. And I guess I can only assume he's probably like, all right, why is this guy so fucking aggro? Yeah. And then like 5 minutes later, the guy is walking around the park close to me and and it's Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh shit. I was like, so what's your dog's name? And like tried to like chum up and he was just like, he's like, Frank. He's like, come here, Frank. And then just like takes his dog and walks through the park. And I'm like, that could have been it. That could have been it.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
That would have been it, dude. Because dog park friendships, for some reason, like I've become friends with people at the dog park that are famous, especially in Los Angeles, because the dogs get along, and that's your thing. So what I'm saying is that band and David Byrne, if he could have been like, hey man, I got the white jumpsuit, you got the white jumpsuit, let's get a picture. They could have been like, fuck yeah. And they go, hey, what's your name? And then he's like, David Byrne. And they're like, Talking Heads, David Byrne? Yeah. It's like, oh my God, what'd you? And he's like, well, I dug your music. And next thing you know, they're fucking playing a concert video that he's shooting, American Utopia Part 2 or whatever the fuck it is. And they fucking boned it up. They boned it.
They boned it up.
All right, so here's my story with Talking Heads. It's basically the same as all of y'all's, which is their music made their way into my life via radio, via alt rock stations, and it's all the hits. It's nothing other than the hits. I never understood why people loved Psycho Killer so much. I mean, it would be on all these like top 100 song lists of all time, Burning Down the House. I was like, hey,
I agree with you about Psycho Killer. I always was like, I don't really get this. And then honestly, seeing it in the doc, it made me love it because he just looks so cool performing it. And now I love it. But when it used to be on the radio all the time, I was like, I don't want to hear about this fucking Psycho Killer.
No, I mean, it's one of those things where it was just, It was like, yeah, okay, just not my music. It's new wave. I just totally wrote it off as like, oh, music. You know what I mean? And then I moved to Baltimore in my like early 20s. I moved to go to school there, and there was a nightclub in downtown Baltimore called the Talking Head. And I don't know if it was owned by David Byrne, but David Byrne and Adam, fact check this for me. I'm pretty sure he went to Micah, which is the art school in downtown Baltimore. Can you find that out for me? Because there was a connection. It wasn't just like they had it there just because they called it the Talking Head. And it was, did he?
Attended there for 1 year.
1 year. Okay, that's it. Perfect. So yeah, so there's the connection between that. He's got deep roots in Baltimore. But what I started going there, they had this party called Taxlow, and I've talked about it on the podcast before, but Taxlow was like basically a hipster dance party where they would have they'd play like Franz Ferdinand, and they'd play Joy Division, and they'd play Talking Heads at this nightclub, and people would dance to it. And this is like an era when like Nelly's big and fucking, that's what really, dance music, like rave music. And I just started going to that, and I started like hanging out with the girls, and it was just this whole experience where then they would play, Bringing Down the House. They play some of the songs that are on this, but not the live version, the studio versions. And it was great. It made me appreciate it more. I do have a funny story, which I will say about that place.
That'd be funny. I have a funny story. I refuse to tell it.
Nope, not telling it at all. No, I there was a chick named Katura that I dated, and she was the hottest girl in my life that I've ever dated, still to this day. And we dated for a little bit, and then she was like, she went back to her ex-boyfriend, and they're together. And I remember she loved Panic at the Disco. And then 3 months after we'd stopped hanging out, she hits me up and she's like, hey, I broke up with their boyfriend. And she's like, do you want to hang out? And she goes, can you take me to that party at Taxlow at the Talking Head? I go, of course. Now she was like 19 years old. I'm like 25. Okay. We had a class together, and that's how we met. She was like a dance major. I was a film major. And so the night before, she goes to the Panic at the Disco concert that she's so excited about. And I pick her up from campus, and I take her down to Baltimore. She's got this bag with her. I'm like, hey, what's in the bag? And she's like, oh, nothing important. Just, some knickknacks and like my Panic at the Disco t-shirt I just bought and some sleep stuff. And so I'm like, all right, cool. Do you want to go drop it off at my place in Baltimore? We're going to a bad neighborhood. And she's like, no, it's fine. And I had this like old Jeep that like anybody could get into. I mean, you could literally just unzip it and you could be in my car and take whatever you wanted. And we go into the party, and they're playing Talking Heads, and we're dancing, and we're drinking, and we're making out. And she whispers in my ear after like 2 hours, I want you to take me home and fuck me. And I'm like, hell yeah. And then we walk out to my car, and one of my windows is unzipped. And I'm like, oh shit. I was like, maybe the wind. And I was like, let's check to see if anybody got into the car. And I look, my bag's there, all my books are there, everything that I have, my winter coat is there. I go, my shit's here. What about yours? And she's like crying. I'm like, what's wrong? And she's like, somebody stole my overnight bag. And I go, oh, it's fine. You said it was just a Panic at the Disco shirt and some knickknacks. And she goes, no, my wallet was in there with all my credit cards and my social security card and my passport and my birth certificate. Like literally every single thing that somebody needs to steal to basically open up a franchise, in your name. And she was like, take me home. And I mean, I've never seen a vagina dry up faster.
You were like, you still with the whole fuck thing? Is that still
is that on the table? She's like, I'm never going back to the Talking Head. Never. And we never went back.
What did you say her name was?
Katura.
Yeah, that's a name you got to be hot with. If you're gonna be named that, you got to get hot. Like you can't go through life as a Katura being a slouch.
I wonder if there is like. Can you check Adam to find out if
do
there
some
are
research.
any? Do some research. Find out if there ugly Katura. But then it was just then it just disappeared. Their music disappeared for years, and then it came back when we did the record, more songs about food and do you guys know?
Buildings.
Food and buildings. And that was my first real Talking Heads record. And that had Take Me to the River on it, which might be one of the best cover versions of any song ever. There's something about this band that, like, I don't know, because like I want to ask you guys, because there's so much we could talk about. We could talk about the lyrics, we could talk about the rhythm, the instrumentation, and the iconic members. What about their sound makes you gravitate towards Talking Heads?
I think it's just amazing how, I mean, I would never call myself like an art rock fan. I don't listen to any other band. I don't think that is categorized as art rock, but there's something about the way that they can make something so big. It's like, I mean, just in Stop Making Sense, how they can start so small. And then by the time you get to Burning Down the House and you have, you know, the guys doing percussion, you have the synths going crazy, you have the guitar. It's just a way they can be so small and so specific, but also just huge and euphoric in a way that I think is very captivating.
I agree. I agree. What about you, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same. It's like, and also to make something so weird feel so accessible. It's like, yeah, I just think it's cool as hell. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, and I like the lyricism is big for me, and I talk about that on our show a lot. 'Cause some people don't give a shit about any lyrics at all, but it's huge to me that he doesn't use anything that you've ever heard anyone say. He's like an alien, the way he talks, and I love it.
Is he a pop music geek supreme? Is he the top pop music geek supreme? Is he the supreme leader of pop music geekness?
Well, a funny thing about him is if you start typing into Google, does David Byrne, it immediately have autism. That's like the number one search is, does David Byrne have autism? So I think, yeah. And I don't know if he does. I don't know. I didn't do the search, but I just think it's very telling that that's like the one thing people are wondering while they're watching him perform.
I mean, I'm trying to remember what Jerry said, because we talked a lot. Fuck, man, I should have listened to that episode right before I did this. Adam, were you working on that episode when we did it?
Unfortunately, I was not.
What were you doing then?
I was pre-made. That was back in the Morty days.
Oh yeah. God, I wish Morty was here. Morty would fucking just, he knows so much, and he'd be like, it's because he went to this and he did this and he studied under this. I mean, we have to call him a genius.
Yes. 100%.
I mean, because you know what I think it is too. It's like, one, not enough people know about him. I mean, because I really don't think like the younger generation has any idea about the genius. And I bet when American Utopia was on HBO, they were like, what the fuck? This great, another old white singer doing his thing. This motherfucker can't dress at all. Like, what is this suit he's wearing? Like, I think he's a band, and I love that all of us got into this band later in life, because I don't think it's a band like, besides those hits, that you can sit there and say, oh, I can listen. I want to listen to this. Like, this is something that only you can appreciate after you've listened to all the other muck that's being put out. This is something that then pops in that you're like, oh, now I get it. Now I see it. Like, where are we putting David on the totem pole of like musical geniuses? Is he up there with the John Lennon and the Paul McCartney, or is he Miles Davis? Is he Tom York and Johnny Greenwood, or is he just this subsection guy that is just like an offshoot? What do you think?
I think he's just his own island. Like, it's so hard to compare, Talking Heads with say like the Beatles or anything. It just seems David Byrne just seems like he occupies his own singular space. And he just has this vision. He has this thing that he's like, no one else could have done it, and he did it the best it could be done. And I just think that, I definitely, I hate using the word genius, and I would say he 100% is one. And I think he's just his own thing, just to the side of everything else.
Yeah. If we had to compare him to a basketball player, Tom, I know you love basketball.
Yep. Yeah, we're both basketball freaks.
Who, by the way, Wizards 2-0, and that guy Spencer Dinwiddie. I mean, I'm telling you. So something really cool is I did
Spencer Dinwiddie.
Dude, it's like
best name in basketball.
I mean, he should be wearing like turnbuckle shoes and like and like he's a Lemony Snicket's character. You know what I mean? I'm Spencer Dinwiddie. Hello, I'm a fancy lad. But that motherfucker can play, dude. I get the inside scoop from I did a show with Jessica Curson over Hanukkah in 2019, right before the turn to 2020, and I did like musical crowd work with Adam Ray and going through the audience. And next thing I know, I see the broadcaster for the Washington Wizards, the guy who did it for 20 years, this guy Steve Buckhantz, and I almost start like fucking with him, but then he looks at me and he goes, And I go, all right. And because I knew it right away, I pointed out, I'm like, oh my God. And he's just like, nah. And after the show, I went out to wait for him. Dude, he was waiting in the green room for me to tell me how much he dug my set. And he's like, how funny I was. And now I talk to him like once a week. And it's all about sports, DC sports. I get the inside scoop.
Shit.
He's like, dude, the Wizards are going to be, this team is clicking, the defense, the that.
Wow.
We just beat your Pacers.
Yeah. Yeah, we are not a good team right now. Fucking lost to the Hornets with like a fucking 30-point.
I know.
I'm gonna go see them. I'm gonna go see them on next week. I'm excited.
Really?
They're coming to New York. Very exciting stuff. I'm trying to think. So
yeah,
who would David Byrne be if we're talking current league? I want you go for it.
I think Kawhi Leonard, just because of how like robotic and weird Kawhi Leonard is in interviews and shit, and he just does that like very weird vibe. He doesn't really play like anyone else. He's totally his whole thing. He kind of came out of nowhere, like San Diego State, and he just like came out of nowhere and then did some of the most impressive stuff anyone's ever seen. It's like, oh shit, who's this guy? And then he's just a weirdo. So I would say Kawhi
championships. Yep,
That is
2
who
championships.
I was trying to pull that. I think that's the best one. But I would also say maybe like a Kyrie, not Kyrie, but like
he's a flat earther,
like a Kobe, because he's a genius, but he's like, it's kind of got to be his team, and it's like he's like, isn't he like, he's like famously difficult like to work with. So yeah, I'm gonna go Kobe.
Okay. Adam, you said Bill Walton. You wrote Bill Walton.
Just because he's super unique and he's kind of onto his own. You know, there's not many players that are like Walton. You know.
Also, both white. That's good.
Yeah. I don't even know. All I can think in the terms is like Wizards, and I'm like, was he a Gilbert Arenas? But no, it's like
I do remember him showing up to a show with a gun in his locker.
2 guns. Yeah. He started popping off on Jerry. He's like, pick a gun, pick any gun you want, because I'll put a cap in your ass. Is that a good? That's a good impersonation.
That was good. maybe Wizards Jordan.
Okay.
Everybody's favorite Jordan.
He was mine.
I had that jersey.
Seasons. That's a great jersey. It's the only Wizards jersey you can get in blue anymore. You can't find
I had that blue jersey. It was sick.
Yeah, you can't find that anywhere. I've been looking for a Gilbert Arenas jersey for like 5 years, and Megan Gailey, her husband's like big on that, and he's been trying to find. Yeah. So he's been trying to find me that too, and I just need to press him on it. But that's I have like 14 different Bullets and Wizards jersey that I ordered during this like year span. I have a Rex Chapman, I have a Tom Gugliotta, I have a Manute Bol. I have a George Murasan. I have a Weber. I have a Rasheed. I have with the Gilbert. That's the one. Okay, I have Calbert Chaney. There you go, Indiana.
Yeah, there you go. Indiana's own.
All right, let's talk about. Let's get some of the background on this record. All right, so this is the soundtrack. Specifically, I know we're talking a lot about the concert film, everybody, but I feel like you can't talk about one without talking about the other. And the concert film really is what, after watching it, it did make me realize, fuck, man, this is really cool. This is way cooler than just a live record, because I'm listening, when you listen to some of the live albums we've had on here, like Cheap Trick, Live at Budokan, there's no video, at least that I've seen, that goes with it. And so when you can see it, it just hits so much harder. And it's like, fuck, man. Because even the way it opens with Psycho Killer, it's like, it's just seeing it made me really love it even more. So this is a soundtrack to the live concert film release of the same name. It was released in '84, featured 9 tracks from the movie with some editing. It spent over 2 years on the Billboard 200 chart, peaking at number 41. It eventually went 2 times platinum in the United States. The title of the album comes from a lyric in Girlfriend is Better. Purists have found Stop Making Sense slightly mixed and, worse yet, incomprehensive. Okay. The 9 tracks included Jumble and Trunket. Did I say that right, Adam? Did you write that? Trunket?
Trunket. You got it.
Trunket. What does that mean?
Like a shortened version, condensed.
Trunket. Perfect. I'm going to start using that. And a shorter version condensed the natural progression of frontman David Byrne's meticulously arranged stage show. Cries for a double album treatment, a 1982 live opus. The name of the band is Talking Heads, were sounded almost immediately. More enterprising fans merely dubbed the VHS release of the film onto cassette tape. even when the 7 tracks that didn't make the cut, this still gives you a sense of a band playing at their peak. I agree with that. I really do. More than half the album features tracks from the Speaking in Tongues album. The tracks were performed on this live performance, but not released on the album version. Included Heaven, which I think I would tell when we were doing the podcast together, your podcast. I immediately said I don't know the name of the song, but that is my fuck. And don't give me your favorite song on the record yet, but that is my favorite. That song is what really made me now a Talking Heads fan. It's so beautiful. I think it's perfect. And then to see it with just him and the bass player.
Yeah, I mean, that comes out with the bass and
so God. But yeah, and we can name a whole bunch of songs. All right, so let's do some tracks on it.
Yeah.
All right, so it opens with Psycho Killer. When it was finally completed and released as a single in 1977, Psycho Killer became instantly associated in pop culture with the contemporaneous Son of Sam serial killings. Who's your favorite serial killer?
Oh man.
Seriously, this is a real question. I'm seriously asking this.
Well, I'm a Chicago guy, so I got to go with Gacy. He's
dude. Hero. Fuck yeah, man. He killed it, dude. That guy rips.
I mean, Durst, I guess, isn't a serial killer. He would be it for me. He killed him. Yeah, I'm going Durst.
Fred or Robert?
Character.
Oh, Robert Durst.
A little from column A, a little from column B.
Dude, listen, you can shit on Limp Bizkit all you want, man. I saw one of the last concerts I saw in 2019 was fucking Limp Bizkit at the Roxy. And
was it good?
Holy shit, it was. I have so much video. I went, but basically, huge shout out to Eric at Meth Syndicate and Rebecca. I just went to their wedding in Maine, where I really listened to this record on the way up, and I got to listen to it all the way through a couple times, and I was like, "Fuck, man!" But I went with them. Let me tell you something. You could shit on. That's a good stand by your band. So has somebody done that?
Mike Racine defended it's a famously controversial episode.
Oh, I'm going to listen to that. Because I love Mike. But
I love him so much. But he gets very upset with the fact that we didn't love Limp Bizkit.
What?
It's funny, but it's a lot.
I mean, it is what it is. But here's the thing is that it's just, he put on such a great show, and it's not Limp Bizkit in 1999. It's Limp Bizkit in 2019. The fans are different. We're older. We're more mature. You know, there were no sexual assaults. It was just a regular concert, but his in-between song banter was horrible. And I was tripping on mushrooms. That's
a weird one. That's a weird mushroom show, man. That's like way too aggressive for mushrooms.
Very aggro. And MGK was there, and this is when he was still a rap artist. And at one point he went on stage while he sang break stuff and then dumped trash on his head. Like he pulled up a trash can. He was just like, it was so like, all right, dude, whatever. Of course you're gonna marry a Kardashian, fucking hand job. Nobody should defend him.
Nobody's even pitched him, I don't think.
Good. And you say no to that. So what do you think of when you hear this song Psycho Killer? Like what thoughts are brought up to you guys when you hear this song?
I genuinely think it's just the phrase qu'est-ce que c'est, bringing in the French rate. I think it elevates the song so much. I really think it would not have been as big of a hit if he didn't say qu'est-ce que c'est. And that's like, I think it's just such a cool turn of phrase that I
what does it mean? Do we know?
Yeah, qu'est-ce que c'est? It's
I took French in college, and I do not remember. I was a terrible.
Adam, don't worry. Adam's got it because Tom, your brain, I can tell you're like,
No, I took fucking like 7 years of French, and now I can't remember either. I'm gonna look it up. Oh, yeah, you look it up, Adam.
Adam, look it up. While he looks it up, I'll give you this. I just had lunch, so I got a lot of indigestion. Every time I do the podcast, I have indigestion.
It means what is it, and what's that?
That's right. I knew it was what.
How do you not know that? You took 7 years of French. That's the most basic shit, dude.
You think I'd remember, but I froze up there. It was the internet connection.
So this song is included in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's 500 songs that shaped rock and roll. Is one of 3 tracks from this release to make the list. Yeah, Psycho Killer's iconic, man. It's, I mean, you think of, go ahead.
I was gonna say the strum pattern is really cool in it too. I just think it's a really cool rhythm on the guitar that he's doing.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. It's been covered by Velvet Revolver, Cage the Elephant, Fish. And then there was a Talking Heads cover band out of Baltimore. It's called Psycho Killers. Yeah, this is an iconic one.
It's a good. I'm not surprised it's like covered it. It's when people do it at karaoke, it pops off. It's like it's like a sneaky good karaoke song, I think.
Yes. Oh, this could definitely, like, fucking change the energy in a room and get people singing behind it.
Well,
It's a good karaoke.
The part, people really get it.
People.
It's true. Qu'est-ce que c'est is just fun to say too.
People love a good, like, la 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 la. Yeah, like Mr. Jones. Dude, I was at that wedding and they played Mr. Jones, and when he hit that la 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 part, everybody. That's probably a fucking killer karaoke song. I just don't do karaoke. I do the goddamn Comedy Jam. Check it out on Paramount Plus, everybody. Nobody watched it.
Baby.
Oh, I'm actually, one of the things I bought with that money was a Dyson, and then I sold my Dyson to move to New York, and now I think I'm going to buy a new one.
Oh shit! Yeah, you need a good vac.
Need a good vac,
dude. I had to. This is not interesting. Never mind. Yeah.
Wait, what is it?
Anti-vacker. No, we're sharing a mic over here. No, this story sucks. I fucking had to go. My fiance, we got a nice vacuum off of Amazon. We support Bezos. We like him. We think
love it.
Guy. And we bought this fucking vacuum. It was like $200, and it broke. We tried to replace a belt on it, and it caught fire in my apartment, and it was terrifying. And my fiance was like, let's just throw this thing away. And I was like, well, it's a fucking $200 vacuum. Maybe we can get it repaired. And I had to drive an hour and a half to get this fucking thing repaired. It was such a pain in the ass. It's not like a common thing. It still costs like $60, but we're so like conditioned to just throw shit out if it's not working instead of getting it fixed. I felt like I did a good deed. I should
get a Dyson. Get a Dyson, dude. Spend the $500. It's
Don't
worth
you feel in New York like our apartments are so small that I'm just like, I'll just live in filth. Who cares? It's not enough. I'm not gonna fucking vacuum this. There's not enough of it.
Please tell me that's a bit, because that is the most the most New York joke. That's so. I swear to God, I'm looking at my living room and I'm just like, or my bedroom, my kitchen. I'm just like, yeah, who's coming over?
Yeah,
nobody comes over. Just
enough.
let it be.
You could go the opposite, where it's like, actually, you should really be on top of cleaning it because you have to live right there. But it's like, it's buying a fucking $500 vacuum for 20 square feet. You're like, what am I doing? I don't need. I'll just sweep it up. Like,
I know, but I just feel like I'm always sweeping.
Yeah. No, it's constant.
It's not just the sweep. It's the grabbing of the other thing and sweeping it into that, and then going to the trash can. And then you always lose some fuzz or something. Then you got to re-sweep that with the Dyson, dude. It's just unplug and just fucking and then it's fucking done. Yeah. Proud sponsor of the 500, Dyson. You guys hear me fart?
Oh, now I see what's happening.
Yeah. I'm trying to get a sponsorship. All right. Well, hey, Adam, on the list that you gave me, I don't have Heaven on here. It goes right into Swamp.
Because that's one of the songs I got cut from we're talking.
Oh, we're talking about just the nine.
The album version, not the.
Because I know that, but in the album version on Dark Lord Spotify, it has it does
Spotify
have Heaven.
Has all of them. Yeah, and that's why I didn't even realize that it was only 9 in the initial release, because the Spotify one's what I was listening to, so I just assumed that was how it was released. I didn't realize they cut like half of it.
No, all right. So So I gotta say this. In the version I listened to, Heaven is, it just stole my heart. I love it so much. I love it. I can't stress that enough. But let's go in through this release. Then we have Swamp. I don't know which one. Replace Swamp for me, Adam. Do you got a little face of it? I gotta remind myself what it is. Oh, Heaven.
Let me tell you a story.
Yeah.
This was when you're on acid and you're like, what the fuck is going on?
I'm singing like this, and then that wall is melting, and that is a demon on my shoulder. That happened to me once. Exactly. We were listening. I was tripping balls. You can kill it out of it. We were tripping balls, and I was listening to Wu-Tang Clan, and I used to have like. I used to go to the dark side a lot on LSD because I had one schizophrenic breakdown that was like I talk about it all the time on the podcast. Changed my life. when I was 15, but I knew it. I could after that bad trip, I could always stop myself from having a bad trip by knowing that I was just on LSD. Because that's the problem. You're so fucked up that you just think this is all real and almost forget that you're on the drug. So I could pull myself out of the dark side. So I remember I'm sitting in my basement. We're listening to Wu-Tang. My friends are playing spades behind me. We're watching Evil Dead, which is probably the worst movie to watch when you're tripping. And I remember I'm looking at it was an unfurnished basement, and the walls had like wood, and the wood had those like little wood holes, those circles that are like, and they all look like demon eyes. And so I was like, Paul, I was like, you got to take off Wu-Tang. I was like, put something else on. I was like, what do you want? I was like, Radiohead. Okay, computer. And he put that on. And at first you're like, oh, okay, Airbag. And then it's like, gang, 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 gang. And I'm like, robots. And then I had a bad trip.
When it has Paranoid in the song title, it's probably one to skip.
Yeah, right, dude. Any thoughts on this, Tom? Or you guys, you have anything you want to talk about Swamp?
Wait, which one?
Swamp, the one we just listened to.
Oh, yeah.
Well, in the movie, it's when they put all the lights to red, and they're putting these like weird images in the background. So it is like in the roller coaster of it is like the scary weird part. So
yeah,
I was just watching. I kind of sped through that one. It was scaring my ass.
yeah. That's
I
just
don't need
fine.
all that.
You're a sensitive lad, boy. You're a very sensitive lad, boy.
I'm just a scared man.
You're
That's
a scared man. All right, let's jump to Burning Down the House, because I mean this is new wave. This is funk. It's a song that I found out started from a jam, says bassist Tina Weymouth. In the liner notes of Once in a Lifetime, the Best of Talking Heads, Chris Franz, the drummer, had just been to see Parliament Funkadelic in its full glory at MSG, and he was really hyped. During the jam, he kept yelling, "Burn Down the House," which was a P-Funk audience chant, and David Byrne dug the line, changing it to the finished version, down the house. Keyboardist and founding member of Parliament Funkadelic, Bernie Worrell, joined them for the version on this record. According to Byrne, in an NPR interview, phrases that he tried but ultimately did not use in the song included, "I have another body, pick it up by the handle, you travel with a double, and I'm still under construction." Those are the most David Byrne lines ever. As for the title phrase in the chorus, one early attempt, as heard on a work tape, had him singing a different line, "What are we going to do?" And at another point in the process, instead of chanting "Burning Down the House," he was chanting "Foam Rubber USA." Okay. What do you guys thoughts on this? What do you love? What do you dislike? I mean, there's nothing that we dislike, obviously. It's
this is
brilliant.
One of those songs where you can just tell that they are having the fucking time of their lives. You know what? Everyone is just like really funky, rocking out, and it's just like these guys are having a great time and they are just killing it. Like the synth sounds so cool. It's just such a fun, great song.
Now,
probably the funkiest song that I enjoy.
Really?
I'm not a huge funky guy, but this one I'm dancing, I'm having a good time, and it is true. Watching them do it, and they're like, "This is fucking awesome." You know that they're thinking that while they're doing it. This is so fucking cool, and it is cool.
It really is cool. Yeah, it's. I'm telling you, even in the car ride over when I was driving to Maine, I was like, God, this is great. Watching it a few moments ago, and I have all the Sonos speakers here, so I have it all turned up. It fucking thumps. And then to see like, and I know this is, I mean, I don't know if I can say this, but the fact that it's a multiracial band, and the black dudes in there are like, "Huh, burn it down the hopper." I mean,
I think there's an element where I don't know if they knew they were doing it. It makes it seem much cooler that it's because it could just be this dorky ass white dude dancing on stage, and you're like, "What the fuck is this?" kind of. But then seeing like other people dancing with him, and it just looks, it seems so much cooler.
But is he a dork? Is he
I don't
a dork?
think he's actually a dork. I just mean he kind of looks like a dork.
He's very.
Like,
I think it's the coolest he's ever looked. To be honest with you,
he does look. Well, seeing
hair,
him, the laser focus in his eyes when he's performing it, especially to open it, and he's alone and he's just fucking killing it. And you're like, this guy is awesome. But if you just saw him walking to the show, I would be like, what the fuck is this guy about to do?
Yeah. Adam, you said you have a clip of it. Play the video clip. Just let's see a little taste of. Yeah, dude, kill it.
Let's
Oh my
go.
god. And it's even, you know what? This is better than the studio version. The way that he is, the cadence in the song, like the way he's like pulling back on the lyric and then speeding shit up, like that whole 60. It's just, it's there's a level of hip hop. I don't know if that makes sense. I know. I really should say black influence on
Yes.
David
Yeah.
that is, you wouldn't fucking think it. If you saw him, you would just be like you said, he's a tool. He's wearing a fucking oversized suit. He's a regular white guy. He probably looks like a CPA. The funniest thing, everybody, and I think, Adam, is there a fact in here, or should I wait about their outfits? Did you put something at the end about fat?
I don't actually have anything about the outfits on that, so go for it.
So, all right. So I was reading that everybody was supposed to wear like grays and whites, like nothing that would, like, if light hits it, that would stick out. And then the drummer literally is wearing like a Charlotte Hornets teal fucking like polo shirt. And you're like, did you just work like a golf tournament? Like for Outback Steakhouse in the late 90s? Because that's the color scheme that you went with. But I think that adds to it. I think, like, you look at them and you see their outfits, and then you hear these songs. These songs are funky. These songs are, dude, the black guys there were fucking in it. It's credible. If a black dude thinks you're cool, you're cool.
Well, there's this thing. I don't know the history on this with Talking Heads specifically, but I was watching what is it, 20 Feet from Stardom or whatever, the thing about the backup singers,
great doc,
and they talk about that element of like it made these bands look cooler to have like this incredible black woman singing on their tracks.
Totally.
And it added an element of it. And I think that's true. Like, I think that's definitely a factor.
I think as far, look, I've been working on this bit about how white people shouldn't do reggae music, and there's white people have been stealing from the black culture for years, but there is ways of doing it where because every song that we have listened to, even live, the band we talked about on Stand By Your Band, there is something that can be taken that they took, or somebody took, that they were influenced by from a black dude fucking years ago. And it's just manifested into Placenta Hits the Floor. That being said, Talking Heads is doing it right. They're doing it right. They're taking the funk element of the 70s. And they're taking that new wave sound, the keyboards, and it is totally original. Did the Commodores do something like this? 100%. Is it fucking perfect? Is this a perfect song? I think so. I think it's a perfect song. Yeah. I don't think you get many of these in your career, and this band seems to have a few of them. So this was, let me see, when the track was released as a single from Speaking in Tongues album, became Talking Heads' highest charting hit single in North America, becoming their only top 10 single on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100, peaking at number 9, as well as reaching top 10 in Canada. Fucking Canada. Who cares about them? It didn't appear in the UK single chart at all until, and check this shit out, Tom Jones and the Cardigans covered it and made it a top 10 hit in 1999.
What?
Yep.
That's bananas.
Banana Supreme. Girlfriends is Better. Great song. You guys, anything you want to add about that? Or
yeah, that's just one towards the end of the show where it's like, being someone who only really knew singles going in, Girlfriend is Better is the type of song you hear where you're like, holy shit, what is this? And it just kind of like really takes you back, where it's just, I don't know, it's a very cool song.
Very cool song. Once in a Lifetime. I mean, let's talk about that. This is the second of 3 songs to be on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's 500 songs that shaped rock and roll. The version from this album made the Billboard Hot 100 list in 1986. The track was developed through extensive jams. I love this. Good pull on this one, Adam. Inspired by Afrobeat musicians such as Fela Kuti. His lyrics and vocals, David's, that is, were inspired by preachers delivering sermons. I mean, I don't think it could ever be summed up better. Once you read that, you're like, oh, that makes perfect sense. Byrne improvised lines as if he was giving a sermon with a call and response chorus like a preacher and a congregation. Half spoken, half sung vocals. Burning the lyrics about living in a beautiful house with a beautiful wife and a large automobile. Byrne denied the lyrics address yuppie greed and said the song was about the unconscious. We operate half awake or on autopilot and end up whatever with a house and a family and a job and everything else. And we haven't really stopped to ask ourselves, how did I get here? Is that statement right there why you guys chose the profession that you're in?
Kind of. Yeah. I mean, I was definitely on a track to do some shit that I was like, I can just live my whole life and it'll be not what I want it to be. And then I'll wake up one day and be like, what the fuck is this? And I worked with people who I feel like kind of were like that. And like a lot of people that I worked with, I worked at a place that seemed like it had job security. And then a lot of people lost their jobs just because of the hospital industry changed and they were fucked. And I was like, oh, I don't want to wake up like that one day and not have done what I want to do with my life, you know? Isn't that, yeah.
I mean, no, it's
got to be part of it.
It is. All the guys that I grew up with, who I love to death, and I'm in a fantasy football league with, you know, and they're all happy. I mean, you know, they got kids, they got beautiful homes, they have the nice cars, they have security. I have a buddy that when he was 24 years old could say, I know exactly where I'm going to be when I'm 40. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were supposed to do this together. He should be running this podcast with me. He should be at the Cellar with me. He should be at all those places because he's just as funny as me. He's the reason I'm funny. He's a huge influence. But that scares me more than a pandemic hitting and me being like, I'm out of work for fucking 2 years. I'd rather be in this tiny apartment in New York with no idea what's going to happen 6 months from now. That's exciting. You know, and there's nothing wrong.
It's definitely scary, but it's like, you know, it's a fucking roller coaster, but it's like, everything. That's what I mean about those people I worked with losing their jobs. I was like, well, that can happen even if you do it the other way. So why not try to do what you want to do, at least for a little bit? Yeah.
You know? I completely agree. I think this song, when you really break it down to just the lyrical besides music, I mean, he's fucking spot on. If there's anybody that followed his dreams,
I think this song may have been in the trailer for the film Click, which I saw 4 times in theaters.
Really?
I don't know why I loved Click. I was
really
into it in high school. Yeah.
Pull it up.
I remember this song being a part of it. It was either in the movie or it was like maybe one of the times that he like wakes up and everything's normal again or something. They play it.
Actually, Adam, don't pull the trailer up. Just start the song, but turn it down a little bit, and then I'm gonna do the trailer voice and see if this matches. Go ahead, do that. Play it. Come on, dude. Play the beginning. Turn it down a little bit. We got late for the kick in. Skip ahead where it kicks in a little bit. When your life is the same thing every day, and you find a remote. I don't know why we have all this fuzz. Did they have that much fuzz in the trailer?
Yeah,
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, Adam. God damn your internet connection. Adam, the iguana light is taking your power. All right, kill it. We're good. We got the joke. I got the laugh.
It was a good bit.
I think it's great.
Can you hear this AC, by the way? It's fucking loud as hell in this room.
No.
Okay, good.
Adam, do you hear it? No. If Adam doesn't hear it, we're good to go. In 1986, the Muppet character Kermit the Frog performed once in a lifetime in an episode of Muppets Tonight. Find that, Adam. Find that while we look. And he wears a big suit and mimics Burns' dances from Stop Making Sense.
That's honestly sick as hell. I would be so hyped if fucking Kermit is doing me.
Dude, so one of the fans of the podcast, we did De La Soul in the last episode, and he found an episode of like Teen Titans where De La Soul is on there, and they basically talk about how their music was they didn't have any music on streaming services because they signed a bad record deal years ago with Tommy Boy, and they wouldn't give him a better cut of the streaming rights. So they basically went on an episode of Teen Titans. I guess he had a fan that was a writer, and they talk about like this evil guy has their music and won't give it to him. Yeah, it was cool. And this guy posted it. That's right. I love the Fleece Army. Join the Patreon.
That's sick.
Yeah, dude. The Patreon is sick. Thank you for promoting it right there.
That's very sick. What a Patreon.
All right. I mean, we could talk about, you guys want to talk about, we got it?
yourself living in a shotgun shack. And you may find yourself in another part of the world. And you may find yourself behind the wheel of a large automobile. You may find yourself in a beautiful house with a beautiful
I love
wife.
Kermit.
And you may ask yourself,
This is
well,
why I hate the
how did
internet.
I
Why
get
the
here?
fuck does this have 671?
Sliding the days
Yeah,
go
sees
by,
this and is like,
sliding the
fuck
water
that.
only down,
Yeah.
sliding the days
That frog's out of tune. You're flat, Kermit.
again after the
All right, kill it. Yeah, dude. 671 thumbs down on
Who
the most.
thumbs downs that? I don't
Some-
get it.
Somebody that hates frogs, bro. There's somebody
Ugh.
that's very anti-Muppet. There's like, I don't know. There's like, that's so stupid. It's like, oh my God, this is the most adorable thing ever.
Yeah.
No.
Picturing the type of day you got to be having to be like, I'm gonna. Not, I didn't like this, and I need them to know.
Hilarious. That was great. Thank you for pulling that up, Adam. That was fucking that just made
That is
my day.
awesome.
Yeah. What a day that was. Life during wartime. Life during wartime. This is another one of the 3 songs from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's 500 songs that shaped rock and roll. The lyrics are told from the point of view of someone involved in a clandestine. Did I say that right? Clandestine. Clandestine, there it is. Activities during some sort of civil unrest or dystopian environment. Any thoughts on this one?
And this is another great one, but I did want to say really quickly for what a day that was.
Please, yeah, I didn't mean to skip
That's
over
one of
it.
my favorite songs in the whole thing. And
Oh.
It's not a Talking Heads song. It's a Byrne solo song, which I didn't realize till after. So it's like I have to find the studio version of that song because I think it's like the highlight of the concert for me, one of them. And it's just a really amazing song. It's got this amazing like background vocals. His singing on it's really great. So I just wanted to highlight that as one.
No,
check
absolutely.
out,
I didn't mean to skip over it. That's interesting that you brought that up because David Byrne wrote this for the Catherine Wheel, which is a musical score commissioned by Twyla Tharp from the American Dance Choreographer. She's an American Dance Choreographer for her dance project. It premiered September 22nd, 1981 at the Winter Garden Theater in New York City. Oh, look at him branching out. Life During Wartime. This is one of 3 of the songs from Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's 500 songs that shaped rock and roll. Excuse me. God, I always have indigestion the second we start recording the podcast. That ever happened to you guys?
What's that? What'd you say?
You get indigestion the second you start.
I was just about to say we just ate. We're in Cincinnati right now, which is why we're recording in this weird way where we're sharing a mic. But we just ate chili. We had some famous Cincinnati chili, and it just hit where I was like, "Oh no!" I thought I was cruising, and then I was like, "Oh no!"
We're almost done, so you'll be
chili.
Yeah, you'll be able to pound that out in just a moment. Last song that we have listed is "Take Me to the River." I mean, the studio version of this is so fucking good, and this live version does not disappoint. Green's version, because it was written by Al Green in 1974, and guitarist Mabone Teeny Hodges, good name, ranked at number 117 on Rolling Stone magazine's 500 greatest songs of all time. That's Green's version. The studio cover version released in 78 from more buildings about food, more songs about buildings and food. It reached number 26 in the Billboard Hot 100. We played it live. Yeah, that was it. They played it live in the studio. So, and this is what the bassist Tina remembers. It sounded so great that we played it back and that we immediately imposed a rule on ourselves. No additional playing except single notes, just one ping or bop or pang. Yeah, so they nailed it when they did the version in the studio, and that's basically what you're hearing is a band playing it at the same time and maybe slight overdubs. I think this song is perfect. I still haven't seen them do it yet on the concert video. Like literally as soon as we wrap this up, I'm gonna finish playing the concert video because it's so good.
They really stretch it out too, which it's a lot of fun. Yeah, because it's towards the end of the show. I think it's the second to last song, and they're just like we really make a meal out of it in a great way.
Good,
You know, Dave
good.
Byrne's like he's like jumping up doing some falsetto out of nowhere. It's very fun. Yeah.
Also I should also mention this was all recorded at the Pantages in Hollywood. I know we said it maybe at the beginning, but that's such a great venue.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of shows there. I saw Guns N' Roses there in 2019. I've seen At the Drive-In.
You saw some weird ass shows in 2019, man. I mean, I like them, but it's like you were seeing stuff that is just the year is the weird part. It's not that you
What?
saw it. How was Guns N' Roses in 2019?
Incredible.
Really?
Incredible, dude. What's funny, and I talked about this, and me and Adam, because we've talked about it, is I've seen Guns N' Roses since they got back together 4 times, and 3 out of the 4 they were incredible, and the band was incredible the 4th time. But Axl's voice is like and I found out that what's his face, fucking I can't think of his name. Chris Cornell did the same thing, which is at the beginning of the show when they were doing sound check. The mic technician or roadie is out on the stage, and he's like going check, I'm barely talking, and it's filling the whole stadium, right? It's loud. Yeah. And then, then fucking they come up and he starts singing. And what I notice is he's not singing from like his chest or diaphragm. He's almost singing in like his head. And he's almost like, wow, you could be mine. So he's singing in this like
mic jacked up.
And people said that's what Chris Cornell did too. Because think about it, man. Welcome to the Jungle. Yeah. Sweet Child of Mine are hard to sing in your 20s. Now he's almost 60 and he's still got to hit those notes, So, hey man, power to him. I didn't, did it take away from the show the last time? A little bit. Did it still rock? And did I still go, hey man, he fucking killed it in his 20s and his 30s and his 40s, even at the first few times in his 50s, could have just been an off night. But, sure. But Guns N' Roses and Pantages, I saw it. This is who I was at the concert with because I'm friends with Duff McKagan's manager. I went with Bill Burr and Joey Diaz.
Ooh, baby.
Picked those names up
that night.
And both of them left halfway into the show because the show started 3 hours late.
Damn.
And it was around 1 a.m. when the band finally was like, crazy. Yeah, I think they went on around like 12:30 at night when they were supposed to go on at 9 p.m.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It was insanely.
You think their old asses wouldn't want to be up that late? Jesus.
Not Axl, dude. Not Axl. He's got shit to do, dude. He's moving the shaker.
I want to see Josh's concert list from 2019. He's like, I went to see Tonic. Aqua was playing in 2019.
I know I went to see Slayer, Limp Bizkit. Yep. Fuck. What else did I go to? Fuck. I wish I had a list. I'll bring it to you at the cellar. I'll look through all my ticket stubs and I'll bring it to you. Or we'll do Soulfly. No, I saw Soulfly out here. Fuck no, but who else did I see, man? Fuck it, doesn't make a difference. They were all dope though.
Hell,
they were all dope.
What's Mark McGrath's band?
Sugar Ray.
I'd go see Sugar Ray. Shit.
I saw them. I saw Sugar Ray and Smash Mouth do UMBC's not senior, when you go to college and they're like, it's fucking Towson Tiger Fest, and they have like bands and shit. My sister was going to UMBC and Sugar Ray and Smash Mouth co-headlined. And let me tell you something, dude. Sugar Ray put on a incredible concert. Now, keep in mind, I was on a lot of cocaine. So I don't know if that helped.
You just wanted to fly.
And I was, dude. I was like, every morning in the halo on the ski-doo. All right. Here's some random facts and album reviews. So this album, I don't know if you guys know this. We're using the 2012 list, and they came out with a 2020 list. This album did not make the cut for the 2020 list. This is, I know this. Well, but here's the deal. Did other albums of theirs stay on the list? Well, here, you might have put it in here. This is the second album we've talked about on the 500, with more songs, buildings about food being done at 383. We'll see the Talking Heads 2 more times with Talking Heads 77 at 291. So we got a minute. And Remain in Light at 129. On the 2020 list, only more songs about buildings and food at 364, and Remain in Light jumped though. Remain in Light went up almost 100 spots to number 39. What's on Remain in Light? Adam, you got it? Adam's got it, guys. Don't worry. You don't put your phones away. Come on.
All right, so you got Born Under Punches, Cross-Eyed and Painless, The Great Curve, Once in a Lifetime, Houses in Motion, Seen and Not Seen, Listening Wind, The Overload, and Unison, which is a bonus track, apparently.
Okay, I only knew one of those songs. Okay, all right. Limited pressings of the original LP version featured a full color picture book wrapped around the album jacket. Regular versions had many of the pictures printed in black and white and captions on the album's inner sleeve. Bonafide classic. This got a 5-star review and reissue from Empire. No other band could do this. No other music movie soundtrack sounds this good. Another review from Q Magazine said, a timely reminder of the achievements of perhaps the most underrated band of the post-punk age. Okay. I mean, do you think they're underrated? Guys?
I don't know. I do. I still kind of think they're underrated just because I feel like I said, if I put on This Must Be the Place or like anything, people are I still don't feel like people are giving it what it should get. So just on a personal basis, I think they are.
I think that they are underrated in the general public sense, but like critically, and then like people who are really into movies and music and stuff think of them as like a top band. But I just think like regular people don't. So I think they're underrated.
No, I agree. Yeah. I agree. All right, I got a couple questions written by who's the guy that writes these questions for me, Adam?
Benjamin.
Benjamin. I've never met him, but Benjamin writes good questions. Cut that part out. I don't want Benjamin to hear that I didn't remember his name. Actually, keep that in. Keep that in. And I don't want him to know that I'm happy with his work too. I want him to think that you got to keep everybody.
I don't want Benjamin getting a big head.
Yeah. Do you guys think that this is a good representation of the concert video, the tracks that were selected?
I mean, I think it's. I was disappointed to hear that they only put out 9 and didn't just do a double album with the whole thing, because I think that you kind of need the whole thing, because it's really, you know, a big. I know. I think it's like a play where you need to see. You can't put like a scene from Act 1, a scene from Act 2 next to each other. I think it just needs to be experienced front to back in order. So, I mean, it's still great and they sound really good. I was just listening to it this morning, but I do think it should have all been there.
Tom, what do you think? Same thing?
Yeah, same thing, 100%. I want the whole thing, or else give me nothing.
Yeah, I mean, to see that Heaven was taken off, because I listen. Yeah, it's crazy. It's like I think all of those songs that are on the concert video, it creates. It's like making a mixtape. You know, you come out strong, you do Psycho Killer in a very unique way, and then you bring it down and you do Heaven. And then you build it back up, and then it just goes boom, 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 boom. And I don't know.
Yeah, you need all of that to feel it, you know.
Yeah. And then he also brought out at one point a whole different band, right? And they do a song. They did not didn't they do like a Tom Tom?
So the Tom Tom Club is Tina Weymouth, the bass player, and Chris France, the drummer. It was their side project, and they play a song that I'm forgetting the name of it right now, but it's a song that gets sampled in hip hop all the time. Yeah, it's like my boyfriend.
Oh yeah.
You know that song? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A great drum beat. Yeah.
It's great. I feel like you need all of that. And whatever I listen to on Dark Lord Spotify, I really, really dug. Oh, did you guys know that Alec Baldwin killed somebody? Do you guys know about this?
We were at a wedding on Thursday, and the groom comes over and he's like, Alec Baldwin killed a guy. I was like, this is a weird wedding twist.
Weird wedding.
Do you take this woman? Hold on, guys. We gotta stop this. Did you see Alec Baldwin just killed a person or an impersonation of Trump? This is a good question. This goes by the title.
Was that the only thing you were going to say about them?
Yeah.
Drop in fucked up news in the middle.
Because I looked at my phone to look up the track listing, and it said after Hollywood gun experts grapple with safety questions, and I was like, that'll be fun. It kind of puts a little timestamp on the podcast, you know. We're very evergreen, but you know, I like to let people know what was going on.
Sure.
And that's when we recorded this.
Well, it's gonna be fucked up if somehow he does it again in like 2 months. Wait, was it the first one or the second one?
In a world that constantly demands we explain ourselves, is the invitation command suggestion to stop making sense a form of resistance to cultural pressures? What do you think?
Well, yeah, I think, people always kind of bring it up as this whole album, this whole movie is kind of like a rejection of Reagan era capitalist excess and just like flaunting wealth and everything. And it's just kind of a subversive, but in a funny way, and like the big suit and everything. It's like just a big kind of just like a smirking fuck you in a way that I like, where it's not like, a protest album. It's not like, yeah, but I think it's subversive in a fun way, I would say.
I agree. I think that's kind of like the the mission statement of David Byrne, which is just like, because if he made sense and if we could just pinpoint him and be like, just, oh, this is who he is, we wouldn't be talking about his records. You know what I mean? I think that's what makes him special. And to ask, everything he does seems to be very, like you said, subversive. So I think maybe this is, I think it's a great album title and a great concert video title. And then when you watch the concert video and you see the gaffers like rolling him out and rolling out pieces of shit during it, it's like none of it makes sense. None of it makes sense, and that's why it's great. Tom, do you have anything you want to add, or you?
No. I agree with I like the smirking fuck you, and it's like, yeah. I also just like that it's not. If there was any moment in that he actually said something political, I'd be like, this sucks. But the fact that it's just like this little like tongue-in-cheek, like big suits, like it's so much more interesting, and timeless. Like,
very timeless, very interesting, very timeless. Do you guys think the live versions of some of these iconic Talking Heads tracks, how do they stack up against the studio versions from this record, from what we've heard of the actual studio? What do you think?
I mean, I prefer the live, after seeing it, it's so much more fun to think of it that way. But what do you think?
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think it's such a visceral thing, and I think this and also Last Waltz, once you hear these versions, it's like impossible to enjoy the studio versions as much just because you've heard it in its like full highest form, which I think
For
the live
sure.
version is. Yeah.
No, and that was great. That was a really good by bringing up the Last Waltz, because it changes. Hearing a live version changes the way that's why we go to concerts, because a song can become that much more meaningful and you understand it. And then when you see them,
100%. We were just at this Treefort Music Fest in Boise, because we were doing our Stand By Your Band there and some stand up. But there's this band that Tommy was like really into, and I was like, I'm excited to see them, called Japanese Breakfast. And I listened to their stuff. I liked it, but I was like, yeah, I could kind of take this and listen to it a few times. I'm not like obsessed with it. We saw them live, and it's the only thing I've listened to since then, because seeing this woman like perform the way she does with the music, like that's just her new album, and songs that I had only heard once, and I was like, yeah, it'd be cool to hear it. It was the best show I've ever seen, and I was like,
wow.
Now I listen to the songs and I just think of that show, and I'm like, it's just totally changed it for me. So
sure.
Go see live music if you can. It's such a game changer.
And if you can go back to 2019, go back to that year and go see live music, man, because it fucking
that was
rules,
a good
dude.
year.
That was a great year for concerts. Let's do this one. What do you think? Let's do this one instead. Because of this record, because of Talking Heads, what bands do you think we have now? Who do you think this album and this artist has influenced?
Ooh. I mean, we would not have Miley without. We would not have Miley without Talking Heads. I don't know.
Well, I think it's an easy one to pick because they ended up working together. But St. Vincent, I think, is the most Talking Heads inspired big act. And then she and David Byrne made an album together. It's also very good. And I love her stuff too. But it's very direct influence, I would say there.
I mean, I think you could say the Danger Mouse, CeeLo, Gnarls Barkley. I mean, you could say some of the bands that I saw or heard at Taxlow, like Block Party, Franz Ferdinand. Franz Ferdinand for sure.
Likes, because I feel like he's kind of like our modern David Byrne, just a weirdo. Yeah.
No, I think definitely off of The Love Below.
Mm-hmm.
There's Roses. I mean, it's all. I mean, I think it's because it's funny that we're talking about influences right now, because I put out a tweet yesterday because I'm prepping for another podcast and I listened to Sonic Youth, and I was like, man, I didn't realize how important this band is. Like this band is way more important, you know, on so many levels to music. And I put them up there in terms of like, you know, the band that all the music that came after it in rock and roll, especially like I think the Sonic Youth is like, you don't get a lot of those bands. And I think with Talking Heads, it's just subtle little droplets that people don't even realize. It's not like there's like a band that's just like flat out stealing from them, but it's like I hear Talking Heads so much, especially in the music nowadays, even in like hip hop. I feel like you're hearing a lot of it. Like, I mean, some of the stuff that Drake's done, maybe even some of the stuff that Kendrick's done off of To Pimp a Butterfly. I think it's deeper than just, you know, the absurdity of their act. I think it's, if you just get rid of all of that and just look at the music. Yeah, man. Alt J, Radiohead. I think a lot of stuff. Yeah, I definitely do. All right.
Radiohead for sure.
Radiohead for sure. All right. So these are the questions I ask every guest. And I want to answer them both. Now keep this in mind. We're not going by the concert film. We're going by, I don't know if you have a list of these 9 tracks.
Yeah, let me get this.
I'll type it in right now.
Yeah, type it in and
Cool.
put it in the feed, because I need you guys to look at these when because we could all, because I'd say Heaven for my first question I'm going to ask you, but I can't because it's not on there. So I got to pick mine. So you putting them up there, Adam? Oh, REM, yes, and Nine Inch Nails. 9 Inch Nails later stuff. No, I agree with that, Adam. That's apt.
REM for sure.
REM 100%. All right, pull them up and cut this dead. All right, here we go. Is that it? We got more?
More. I'm just.
Come on, Adam. Get your fingers ready. God. What is that, a record player behind you?
Indeed, it is.
Dude, that's why I love you. Is that a Deadpool mask behind you, or is that Spider-Man?
No, that over there is a old style hockey mask that's painted in New York Ranger colors.
Nice. Who's your team?
New York Rangers. I used to be a season ticket holder before I moved out to Northern California.
Oh God, fuck it. Is that everything?
One more. Take me to the river. That's it. 9 total.
Damn.
All right, you just typed all that, or did you copy and paste?
I typed all that.
Holy shit, dude! And you didn't misspell anything. All right, here we go. This is the list of 9. Here's the questions I ask everybody. I want both of your answers. Favorite song on this record?
Oof. Honestly, it might be. I'm between Life During Wartime and Burning Down the House, because it's so fun watching him do Burning Down the House. But I'm gonna go Life During Wartime. It's so good.
Okay.
Yeah,
Tommy.
So I'm gonna say, I want to say What a Day That Was, just because I think it's interesting that it's not even a Talking Head song, and it's such a cool. It's one of the best like verse to like huge chorus in a way that I love so much. But I think if I'm being truthful, it's got to be Burning Down the House. I think.
Yeah, I'm saying Burning Down the House, 100%. All right, least favorite song out of those 9. What are you skipping over?
Oh, I don't know. I think I skipped. What was it? Yeah, I believe I skipped Swamp when I was just watching it. So yeah, I guess I'll go Swamp.
Swamp, Tommy.
Yeah, and I think it's fun. You know, it's fun to listen to, and he's doing a silly voice, and it's like a way different. It's a way different speed than the rest of the album. So I think it's fun that it's in there. But I think if I had to take one off, that would be the easy choice.
Me too. I'm with you on the Swampy. All right,
you gotta drain the swamp, man. That's what.
You got it, yeah, dude. MAGA baby, MAGA.
Get Biden out of here.
We got to get him out of here, MAGA country. Don't worry, guys. Donald Trump's going to be inaugurated December 14th, 2020, because that's the day that they say.
The fucking Mayan calendar with them. Like,
yeah.
New random dates, like fucking Jesus.
What song on this record would you fuck to?
I thought you were gonna say finger too, because that's your thing. You're the finger king. That's definitely Burning Down the House, because I get turned on by arson, and so I'm a famous turn and burn.
Yeah.
I think I would do Girlfriend Is Better, just to kind of hype up my girlfriend. Like, see, you're better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. What do you got?
I start with Psycho Killer because it's acoustic.
Oh, you dirty dog! You're gonna
Yeah, dude.
you're lasting for 2 songs.
Yeah. Well, I'm a foreplay guy, dude. Because I finger. I'm all foreplay. I'm all foreplay. I'm the actual intercourse is very quick. But I would end with Take Me to the River.
Yeah,
Because it's got a good beat. It's easy to stay on rhythm. You know what I mean?
sure.
There's no
I feel like-
shouting.
I feel like Slippery People is the most obvious one.
Yeah,
You want some people lubed up and stuff, you know?
Or Swamp.
Yeah, I guess
You know,
Swamp
it's like
works with that too.
Swamp works. Or depending on the girl, once in a lifetime.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Sometimes
Yep.
it's like we're never gonna do this again. I could tell.
Yeah.
You're not gonna want to hang out with me ever again. And then last question is, do you think this record deserves to be on the 500 greatest album list? And why do you think the younger generation should listen to this?
I mean, I think we covered a lot of this. Like, I think it definitely should. And I think it's inspired a lot of cool shit. And I do think you're right though, that you can't, I would not have liked this at 15. I don't think I would have been like, what the fuck is this bullshit? You need to see some stuff before you can enjoy this really. But yeah, I think they should take the time to do it.
No, I agree. Tommy?
Yeah, I think they really captured a night where one specific guy, one specific vision, one specific band was perfect. And I think I know it was 3 shows, but it was like this album is a representation of, not like 50 years of whatever. It was just like on this night, this was the best band in the world and they got it on tape. And that's why I think it should be even higher on the list.
Wow. I think that was a perfect answer because you're really capturing a moment in time, a very special show. Even Adam said it. He has no emotion. Great way to put it. You put it perfectly. I couldn't add. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't add anything else to that. It's like, listen, it's something that listen to all the people out there. If you just listen to the record, you're doing yourself a disservice. Watch the concert video. It's directed by Jonathan Demme. I know we've talked about him, but he did Silence of the Lambs. He did Philadelphia. This is a Academy Award winning best director taking a band that is unlike any other band in the history of music, one of the most unique bands ever, and capturing them perfectly. Like, I mean it. After watching this, it took my ranking of this record. I was gonna give it at first. I was gonna give it 3 fleeces, but I think this is almost damn near perfect. So I'm gonna give this 4 out of 5 fleeces. Yeah, man. Boys, how many fleeces?
Oh,
I'm a 5 fleecer.
5 fleecer myself.
Yeah, I can't. It's really got to blow me away to give it a full 5 fleece.
This thing blows me away. And like I said, if you watch it, it has my favorite song in the world on it. So it's like, for me to not have give it a perfect, that'd be crazy.
No, I get it. This was a perfect episode. I mean this sincerely. I'm so glad that you hit me up. I'm so glad that I traveled by train to get to your apartment in Brooklyn, all the way to Bed-Stuy, and just it's great. You guys are great. Your podcast is great. I had a blast doing this. Promote away, please. Anything you want to promote? I know you have some shit coming up, Tom.
So I'm doing a special. I don't know when this is coming out, but I'm doing
Comes out
special
Wednesday.
Okay, so you'll have just missed my special taping, but I don't know when it's coming out. But on Epic's Unprotected Sets, I'm doing an hour. So I've been running it. It's been really fun. We'll be at the Comedy Attic in beautiful Bloomington, Indiana, November 5th and 6th. And we're going to do a live Stand By Your Band on the Saturday show early. So you can come to 2 shows. You can come see the stand-up show afterwards. It's going to be a totally different thing. And besides that, I go to my website, tomthakkar.com. I got a bunch of random road dates. I'll be in like Texas and Buffalo, but I don't think I'm allowed to announce that. Anyway, yeah, Twitter, Instagram, all that good shit. I post clips on my Instagram at Tom Thakkar, THAKKAR.
And then I have a stand-up album on Spotify, Dark Lord, if that's
Dark Lord
your kind
spot.
of thing. Yeah, you search my name, Tommy McNamara, or the album's called Who's Tommy? I play on the famous album by The Who. And but yeah, you check that out. And then I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Tommy McNam, Tommy McNam.
And also, Tom, I've said this to you. You're one of my favorite comics to watch at
Oh,
the
thanks,
Cellar, man.
brother.
Your big dick tax joke is so funny. The
That's
Madden
on my
curse.
Twitter. Yeah, check that out.
No, check him out. And check out his Tonight Show set. He just did
Oh,
the
yeah, I
Tonight
just
Show,
did that,
and
yeah.
it's a great set.
Thank
And
you, brother.
I
That
think you
means a
both are
lot
great.
coming from you.
Thank
You're-
you.
you're
I had a
good,
blast.
man.
Thank you very much. I had a blast talking to you guys. So thank you for coming on. Okay.
Thanks so much, man.